decide not to go from life.
Hello, I'm Hasey and I play clarinet.
And I'm Mira and I play clarinet too.
That first piece was called Royal Crown March. It was composed by Bruce Pearson and Barry Gott. Our conductor was our student teacher, Mr. Barry.
This was our second piece this year in American March style. We learned new notes, more complex bass lines and soft slurs sections for this march. The percussion and low brass were the engine that drove the march, while the other instruments mostly played the melody. We hope you enjoy Royal Crown March and enjoy the rest of the concert.
Hello, I'm Jonah and I play percussion.
And I'm Allison, I play the flute.
Our next piece is called Pegasus. It was written by experienced Black composer William Owens. This piece is inspired by Greek myths of flying horses. We got to watch a movie clip from Clash of the Titans to see Perseus ride a Pegasus to defeat the Kraken.
Listen to our clarinets and flutes at the beginning and end play a part that sounds like flying. The powerful melody is passed from the trumpets to the low brass to the upper woodwinds throughout the piece. While learning this piece, we improved on playing several independent parts and locking them in together. We hope you enjoy Pegasus.
Hello, I'm Destiny and I play flute. And I'm Olive and I play percussion. Our next and final piece is called Dr. Rock. It will be conducted by Miss Hawk. It was written by Bruce Pearson and Barry Gott. This piece is in a rock style and uses rhythms and melodies that you might hear in a rock song. The beginning and ending are a call and response effect between the brass and the woodwinds versus the percussion. Then the low brass, saxophones, and clarinets carry the melody in the middle. There's a smoother and softer section for contrast.
We hope you enjoyed Dr. Rock, and we thank you for coming to our concert tonight.
Hello, I am Arya and I play the flute.
And I'm Aaron and I play the trombone.
You just heard Dragon Slayer by Rob Grace. Dragons are in the mythology of folklore in many European and Asian cultures. They are usually described as evil and fire-breathing legends. Say as the Greek god Apollo and the Saint George became heroes after slaying dragons.
We worked on playing in a new key signature with the new note learned in Let's Go Band. Much of the piece has aggressive accented notes, however, a gentler part in the middle has some nice dynamic changes and is led by the clarinet section. You heard Cora playing a tam-tam or gong several times in this piece. We hope you enjoyed Dragon Slayer and that you enjoy the rest of the concert.
Hello, I'm Gideon and I play the tuba.
And I'm Cora, and I play the percussion.
Our next piece is called Apollo Fanfare by Robert W. Smith. Sadly, he passed away in recent years, but he left us so much great band music. The Greek god Apollo was said to be the god of music and prophecy. He was also known to have slain a dragon.
This is the most difficult and longest piece we have performed this year. The melody has many long tied notes meant to sound like soaring or floating. Underneath the melody is a driving, energetic, repeated pattern. There are some call and response moments between sections of the band. We are proud of our growth on this piece and in this overall year. We
hope you enjoy Apollo Fanfare and you enjoy the rest of the concert.
I almost forgot my speech. Thank you, Miles. Thank you all for coming and spending part of your night, especially when the weather looked kind of dicey. I'm very proud of both of these bands. They progressed so much, and they're much better musicians than they were at the beginning of the year, and I think that they're better people. It's truly been a joy to be their teacher, and I just need you to know how proud I am of you, and you guys as well. I will leave it to the students here, but thanks again for spending part of your evening with us, and thank you for supporting your child in music. I guess I forgot a few. Thank you to the custodians for setting this whole thing up, and for Ms. Pask and Ms. Schendel for doing the live stream, and thank you to my wonderful colleagues, Mrs. Huff and Mr. Anderson. This is a team effort. Some of these students have those other teachers I mentioned for lessons, and so it's definitely a team effort. And I'll turn it over to the students. Thanks again.
Hello, I'm Adriana and I play the percussion.
And I'm Miles, and I also play percussion.
The next and final piece of our concert in the evening is Ancient Hunters by Sean O'Laughlin. This dramatic work uses only 6 notes but accurately portrays ancient hunters in the Badlands, South Dakota.
One challenge is that the introduction is slow and the transition to the fast part to practice, since it involves a slowing of tempo and a hold of fermata. We also worked on having the melody be the most audible part to the audience no matter what. Listen for a battle between the animals and hunters portrayed by groups of instruments in call and response. We hope you enjoy Ancient Hunters and that you enjoy the entire concert. Thank you for coming and supporting your child in music.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the 8th grade concert. My name is Maddie, and I play the flute. As we start our final concert of 8th grade and final concert of middle school, please remember concert etiquette. Please sit and enjoy our hard work. Some of this music was in our hands back in February. Try to keep our youngest audience members and future band students quiet and calm during the performance. Make sure your flash is off when taking pictures. And lastly, we want all of the music to come from the stage and from our instruments. Thank you.
Hello, and I would like to welcome you to our concert too. My name is Asher, and I play percussion. It's rather amazing here at our last concert, the amount of growth we have had. Our first concerts were something special, like only featuring 5 or 6 notes, everything in the key of B flat, and only 4 4-time signatures, plus the sound. Now we can make much more mature sounds. This year alone, we've performed music in 5 key signatures, 4 times key signatures, and a much wider range of notes. Our progress in 4 years is a source of pride. Nonetheless, we are going to play 2 selections from Disney's Aladdin. You will hear Arabian Nights from the movie's opening scenes, also the legendary duet, A Whole New World. Please enjoy our concert opener, Aladdin, arranged by Michael Sweet.
play trumpet. Our second piece has a bit of a story behind it. We started playing concert band marches back in March, as we also paid attention to the Sousa March Mania playoffs. Evidently, there is some basketball tournament that takes place in March too. The United States Marine Corps band pinned concert band march against March in the month of March to crown the March champion. I think Mr. Anderson is just trying to make me say the word March as many times as possible. The Marine hymn march won, by the way. We tried our own little version with marches set in 6/8 time. However, 2 were a little too hard. By default, Men of Ohio March won. Please enjoy our march originally from Henry Fillmore and arranged by James Warrington.
Greetings, welcome. I would be remiss if I didn't start off by saying how incredibly proud I am of these young musicians. Holy cow, it is just a delight. I spent a lot of my career trying to make middle school band different than my middle school band experience. And these kids, they make that so easy. They play well, they're respectful, they try. It's fantastic. I'm so honored that I get to be in front of them. Parents, you've really done some fine work. Your kids are great. This is not a one-man show. I'm the lucky person who gets to be in front, wave my arms, pick some music, interact with them. A lot of the hard work, a lot of the progress you're hearing is from my colleagues. Miss Hoff is in back. She works with a lot of the percussionists, flutes. I think that's what she has from this band. Percussion and flutes. And then Mr. Schmitz is brand new this year. He's working with the clarinets. He's working with the saxophones, with bassoon. And then I have lessons with a handful of other kids. We got helped out for a month or so with our student teacher, Mr. Barry. So what you're hearing is not all my work. It's a team effort. I couldn't do it without them. Can you please acknowledge their hard work? You get these kids coming in 6th grade, they're proficient, they know what they're doing. Our feeder programs, the biggest ones are Miss Smith, Mr. Santori, and Mr. Hoover, who's standing in back. So it's them. They do all the early magic. So bravo. Thank you to admin for being here, for your support. Appreciate it. Y'all are great. Thank you to Pask and Schindel for all the tech support. We sound decent. We sound good because my colleagues in 8th grade are flexible and they let us pull these kids out for small group lessons. So thank you to my colleagues very much. So one thing that we are not completely prepped for is we are the last concert of this session. So parents, if you could kindly stack chairs against the wall. The custodial staff get real picky about trying to put them on the carts. So even if you just kind of put them, fold them up, put them against the wall, then make their life easier. Everything you see behind me needs to vanish. So if I can please get about 10 or 15 minutes of free child labor, that would really help, okay? After we're done with applause and that kind of stuff, I'll start giving them some orders. But all of this has got to disappear, so thank you for that. Delight to see you. I'm glad that the weather held out. Hey, I'm going to get out of the way because you're not interested in me talking. Here's the end of the concert.
And now for our final tune of our trek. Hi everyone, my name is Batanya and I play bassoon. Yes, we're playing music from that Pirates of the Caribbean, the hit franchise that Disney pumped out about 20 years ago. This leg of the journey brings us to the warm, tropical paradise in the Caribbean. Sandy beaches, palm trees, clear waters, and the ability to finally relax. Well, that is when we're not looking for a buried treasure or marooned on an island. This work features 4 songs from the movie and is set in mostly 3/4 time, which also concludes our time signature exploration. Please enjoy our final tune, music from Pirates of the Caribbean, arranged by Michael Brown.
room.